machinery. Here we have a corn husker that would merely remove the husk from an ear of corn. Here we've got a seeder for replanting seed. Every so often oats, wheat, barley have to be replanted so that you get a good growth. We've got an iron scalding pot for if you were butchering a lot of ducks or geese or chickens. This is a clover huller. Clover was the forage crop, or the crop that was fed to farm animals for a period for many years, and you needed seed to replant it. So this machine would take and remove the heads and thrash out that, and then they could be dried and stored, and then that could be replanted to replenish the crop the next year. As we move across, we have here a threshing machine, an early one. Wagon would pull up on either side here. The bundles would be pitched into the machine, and it would thrash out whether it was oats, wheat, barley, whatever grain needed. It could be bagged, or it could be dumped directly into a wagon and taken to the granary. And there, many people preferred to be bagged, because then they could dump the bags of grain into the granary directly. Otherwise, if it was loose, then they would have to shovel it from the wagon into the granary. It's a job that the younger generation often got involved in. Here we've got a 1947 John Deere thrashing machine. John Deere made them 1 or 2 years, and then all of the production went to making combines. As we move to the next machine, this is a corn shredder, which would husk the ears, and that would give you kernels of corn, etc. In the back, we've got machine binders and things that would cut the grain, and then it would be dried and it would be sold at market. We have a display of sleds. Some were used in harvesting telephone pole logs. Others were cut in shorter sections and made fence posts. And as we look outside here, we have a sawmill rig that you take your tractor, steam engine, rumbly oil-pulled tractor, hook it up to the belt and get your blade spinning, and 2 men would feed a log in at a time in past the saw blade and cut it into rough boards, and then they would be stacked out here, and the short boards would be laid between each one, so that in theory you had an equal area to evaporate both sides of the board. If you were able to stack them properly, you should be able to do so, and the boards would not warp. So that was very important, and it harvested an awful lot of timber. Here we've got a grain drill, which would seed grain. There's corn planters, there's haymaking equipment, potato diggers, type of things, with many very assorted items. There are rakes, dump rakes, and other rakes that would have been used in harvesting some of the farm crops. Two things that farmers often had to do was to go over their fields in the spring and pick up all the stones that the frost had heaved up, and so they would be loaded onto a stone bolt, and then they would be hauled to the edge of the field, and they would be used to make a fence. The other item we have here is a stump puller. A field where you've cut all the timber off is not a very good place to grow crops until you get all the roots and stumps out. And so this was a mechanical device which you had to hook a team of horses, and it would walk around and it would tighten up and it would tip the stumps out of the Mother Earth. A few years later, they invented something called dynamite, and at that time you dig a hole next to the stump, you put in 2 sticks and put on a long fuse, and when you lit the fuse, then you would hurriedly leave the area, and as the fuse burned down and finally hit the charge, boom! And in most cases, the stump would be removed from the field.